Hey y'all, welcome to Cajun Country Clunkers. I appreciate you joining me for today's Clunker Quick Fix. Now I've got a ton of people that has asked me in the past, hey, the car builds are cool, the truck locked up engines, getting them going, that's really cool, but something that hits home to us is things that we actually own that we need to use from time to time. Can you give us some tips on getting that stuff back going so that we don't have to pay like a small engine shop to get it going? Because there's not a whole lot to these things, especially if they were running when you put them away and if they were in storage. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today, and it's a perfect opportunity for us to do it. Now, if you don't know, we live way down here in South Louisiana, and we're about to get hit with a winter storm. Doesn't happen to us very often, but as rural as we live, just about 100% chance we're going to be without power. Now, we do have power stations to supplement that, but if it's raining, sleeting, and snowing, there's no way for us to use our solar generation to get that electricity back. That's where this comes in, the old Furman. They call him the Furman. I don't know much about these units. We bought this out of desperation. We had back-to-back hurricanes back in 2021, and we needed a generator. This is the only one we could find, and it's been a really pretty decent generator. I'd say painfully average, but it's going to work above and beyond what we're going to need to keep our power stations charged. Now, I've seen a bunch of these videos in the past, and what's kind of comical for me is you'll have the guy, gal, whatever it is up here being like, we got to see if we can get this old generator running that's been set up in storage for multiple years, and it looks like it's brand new. Like, you know, come on now. Ray Charles could see that there's really no issues with that. But this unit here has been rode hard and put up wet, and it is a true clunker. So in a nutshell, y'all, this short and sweet episode is going to be my reflection or of what a lot of you at home experience too. We use these things, we have gas in them, we have great intentions on draining the fuel, getting everything ready, and storing it properly, but y'all, come on, we never do. It's out of sight, it's out of mind, and then the next time you need it, you're crapping. It is not going to start. It's got all this old fuel in it. We're going to get this baby purring like a kitten. Now, first things first, this tank has got to come off of there because whenever we put it up, I left it full of ethanol gas, and it gels up, it gets nasty, and this tank has never been cleaned out. So we're going to pull the hose, pull the bolts out, and get ready to take this off. Now, what you actually should do is turn this valve to the off position before you pull this fuel line off, but there's a series of circles and dashes in here, and I'm not really sure how to interpret that, so I'm just going to hope for the best and pull this off of there. Hey, and if it does leak and pour out, I'm just going to twist that knob till it stops. We're not going to overthink this stuff. Or you know what I could do is refer to this nice sticker that they put here that clearly states exactly what I should do. So I think what I'm going to do, like I said before, was go ahead and turn this valve to the off position. Now I'm going to pull this fuel line off. Oh, look at there. Didn't leak a drop. Now there's only 4 of these 10mm bolts holding this tank on. So I'm going to zip them out of there, and this tank should be ready to lift off. Now look, I know if y'all are used to hearing me, and if y'all are used to watching these videos, y'all know that my voice sounds terrible. It's because I've got either a cold, parvo, or a mild case of the rickets. I'm not really sure, but we're still going to struggle through it and get this stuff done. Like I said, there's an ice storm coming. We got to have some power. Well, there's another little vent hose here that I missed. We're going to go ahead and get it off. Of course, these kind of things happen, you know, when you're in kind of a predicament and you're holding the tank that's full of fuel and the clamp won't get loose, you know, something similar to this. Now, just a real oversight on my part, most fuel tanks that you have on these are going to have that vent that comes back out of the tank, but I just forgot about it. But hey, don't make my mistakes. Remember for my mistakes. Now, this tank gone, this already looks so much less intimidating. But it gives you a much better view of being able to see everything that goes on under here. Like this big dirt dauber nest that's hung up. Look at there. That's right there on our linkage. That needed to be cleaned out. We're solving problems one right behind the other. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take this carburetor off, taking the air cleaner loose. That way we can go ahead and get this thing all the way down. We can clean it up. That way when we go back with it, we're confident that what we're doing is going to make a difference, and we're going to start off with a nice clean carburetor. You know, you might ask yourself, well, why would we do that, and why would we learn how to do that whenever There are shops out there that do that for a living. Well, in a situation just like this, we have a storm coming, and it's going to be here starting tomorrow. So all of the local small engine shops, if you can find one around here that's open, everybody's going to have the same idea, and they're going to be trying to drop their stuff off, and there's no way that they can get to everything. Now, a lot of these are set up mildly different, but they're basically all the same. The bolt patterns might be a little different. The way the air cleaner is might be slightly different, but it's just a handful of screws and a handful of nuts that you got to take loose, and then you're home free. You're down to where you can see what you're working on. Now, just that quick, we got the whole air cleaning system off of the generator. Bare carburetor sitting there staring us right in the face. Hey, look, that's where that hugger went. Look at that. I guess we had a rat that liked our hugger better than we did and hid it inside the generator. What a find. Now, as far as the linkage to this carburetor goes, we have this one spring we got to pull off of there, just like so. And this one piece of linkage that goes to the governor. Now, this is going to control the idle speed and how fast the engine rotates while it's running. And just like that, we've got all the controls disconnected from the carburetor. Now the old carburetor ought to just slide right off of there. Slick as a whistle. Look at there. Now, whenever I got the mouth open on one of these things, I like to try to go ahead and get all these dirt dauber nests, anything like that that you see that don't belong, out of the way, because whenever you get everything back on here, you just really can't get to any of that stuff. Well, as of right now, we have the whole fuel system taken off of this thing. We have the tank removed, we have the carburetor removed, everything that's got to do with the fuel that is old and nasty is off. The next thing we got to do is focus on the fire, focus on the spark. We're going to pull the spark plug out and give it a good cleaning, look at it real good, and we're going to get some penetrating oil down into that cylinder because this thing has been setting up for a long time. Now, taking the spark plug out of the cylinder is really easy. You just pull the spark plug wire off, get you a socket and ratchet that fits it, little quick bump, should come right out. And I'm actually kind of curious to see how this spark plug looks because I've never had it out of here before. So it's probably going to have a little bit of carbon buildup on it. Probably not going to look the best in the world, but it really has all the right in the world because it's got a lot of hours of use on this thing. Man, that's surprising. It looks really good. Not much carbon buildup at all. Huh. The engine must be pretty healthy. Now, being as this thing has been setting up for a long time, I don't know if there's any flash rust inside of the cylinder. So when the piston goes up, is it going to be scraping against flash rust, or is it a nice smooth bore? Or the valves, the intake and exhaust valves, are there a little bit of flash rust on them? Are they going to want to be sticky because they've been in the same spot for so long? Either way, if everything's in perfect condition, or if we do have a little bit of that going on inside of that cylinder, I'm still going to spray some penetrating oil in there because it's not going to hurt anything. I mean, unless you put a whole can in there, and even that probably wouldn't hurt nothing. It's just, you know, not very budget friendly. Nobody wants to screw their budget up over a can of PB Blaster. You know what I mean? That should be the perfect amount. Oh, nope. Yep, perfect. Now that everything's broke down, taken apart, spark plug out, penetrating oil put down in the cylinder, I'm going to grab this pull rope and I'm going to slowly see if I can rotate that engine and let that piston go up and down in that cylinder a few times without being under compression. That way I can tell that everything's going to be working freely and as it should. Must have had a dirt dauber nest in there. Everything sounds good, feels good. Every time I pull it, it's getting smoother. So it might have had a little bit of flash rust in there, I'm not sure, but it's really smooth now. Oh yeah. Love it. Most of these little small engine carburetors like this are basically the same. It's the same concept. I'm removing the bowl right now, and the bowl holds a level of fuel. Now this level of fuel is maintained by this float. And what this float does is as the generator uses fuel and the level starts to go down in the bowl, this float goes down because it's floating on top of the gas that is in that bowl. And as this float goes down, it opens a valve to let more fuel in. So as the fuel comes in, the float comes to the surface and shuts that valve off. And that's what maintains the level of fuel in the bowl of the carburetor. Super simple setup. Now this bowl doesn't look horrific, but it does have a little bit of buildup in it that you can see got moisture, a little bit of trash in there. And as sensitive as these carburetors are, that really means something. We got to get all this cleaned out. Now I'm going to pull this little retainer pin out, slide the float and the needle valve all out together as one unit. And hopefully that's as far as the teardown has to go on this carburetor. I should be able to spray everything out with high pressure carburetor cleaner at this point. What we have to do is take some high pressure cleaner like this, carbon choke cleaner. This is my favorite. Use whatever you want to. But all these little pass-through ports has got to be blown out and it's got to be clean. The only jet that I might actually have to pull out is this high-speed jet in the center. And sometimes, because they have little holes in the side of them, they can get a little buildup. And what that'll cause is your generator will run, but you'll have to run it with the choke partially on. So you're trying to force fuel in with your air, and we don't want to do that. We got everything cleaned out pretty well. Now we're going to start putting the needle valve and the float back in this carburetor, getting the bowl back on, getting everything put back like it needs to go to be able to run. Now cleaning the outside of this carburetor really is not a necessity. And in a pinch, I wouldn't even take time to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and spray some of this gunk off of the outside of it, just so none of it doesn't end up inside of the carburetor whenever I go to put it back on. This carburetor cleaner just melts it off there. Now that was a quick down and dirty carburetor cleaning. That took about 5 minutes. Pull the bowl off, pull the needle valve out, pull the float out, sprayed everything out. I seen some debris come out. I don't know if it was in there or not, but there was some in there. It came out. One little can of carburetor cleaner. Now she's ready to go back on. Now we're going to do this a little different. I'm going to put this linkage on while I have this carburetor out here and it's easy to get to. If I need to bend things around just a little bit to get it to fit, oh yeah, looky there. Put the spring right back in the hole that I'm not sure that it was in, but that's close enough. Nope, not the right hole. Sometimes you got to use both holes. There we go. That's going to work out just right. I'm going to go ahead and throw this air cleaning system back on here. Now look, I see y'all looking at all my dirty and grimy motor that I ain't been cleaning up. Now I didn't say that we was going to completely, do a whole cleanse and rebuild on this thing. We're just cleaning it out and getting it going. That's the name of this game. We got a storm a-coming. We got a storm a-brewing. We got to get this thing going. We can worry about shining the wheels tomorrow. You know what I mean? I guess that kind of mentality is what got me in this position to begin with. We'll do it tomorrow. Got the carburetor on, got the plate mounted to the carburetor that the air cleaner goes on. Now I'm going to clean this spark plug up a little bit, get it put back in the cylinder, get it ready to fire, get it ready to go. Now the spark plug is in pretty good shape. I'm kind of impressed, but I'm still going to hit it with a wire brush, get a little bit of carbon off of it. Probably don't need it, but it made me feel better. I've got it out, so I might as well do it. This thing's going to run like a Ferrari. A Ferrari. Look at that. Now, depending on who you ask, how tight should you actually get your spark plug? It is this torque. It is that torque. It's so many inch-pounds. I'm going to tell you what I do, and it hasn't failed me yet. A grunt and a quarter. There, perfect. Every time. And you can actually get it loose next time. And it won't come loose when you don't need it to come loose. We have the carburetor cleaned. We have the spark plug cleaned. We have the fuel tank cleaned. Now I'm going to put a little bit of fuel in there. And I want y'all right now, don't wait, right now, drop down in the comments and tell me, how many pulls do you think it's going to get before this thing fires up? I'm thinking it's going to start on the 3rd pull. It might be the 33rd pull. Just let me know what you think. Come on now. Y'all have some faith in me and don't hurt my feelings down in the comments. Give this old girl a drink. Some unleaded. It's only 87 octane because I am kind of a tightwad. We ain't throwing no 93 in this unit. It's going to kind of hurt my feelings if it don't start. I've got so much confidence. I hope it starts on the 2nd pull and proves me wrong. I mean, I'd take the 6th. I'm not going to be mad at it if it starts on the 6th. I'd rather the 3rd. 10, that's kind of getting in my feels right there, but I'll take 10. Let's go for 6 and under. Okay, y'all, don't do like I normally do and end up pulling and pulling and pulling and it won't start, can't figure out why. We got to turn the gas on. Come on now, we done had the tank off. We done been through the whole song and dance of looking at the sticker. The sticker tells you what you got to do. Straight up and down, not to the side. To the side is off. We're going to reach over here, flip the old switch on. We're going to get it to go. I'm going to give it just a second to simmer. Right now, all the juices from the tank are flowing down through the hose and going into the bowl of the carburetor. The level in the carburetor is coming up and the float is sealing off right. Now, I'm going to flip the choke on. I'm going to choke it. That little flap. Okay, come on. Pull number 3. We didn't get it on the first one. We didn't get it on the second one. Okay, it did start on the third one though. It just didn't stay that way. Takes a little while for these things to get warmed up, you know. Look at all that penetrating oil burning out of there. Getting some lubricity all up in that motor. Well, there you have it, y'all. The Furman 3650 didn't run, now it does run, and it only took a grand total of about 30 minutes. It cost $0, 0 cents, just a little bit of effort and getting the old grimes dirty. You know what I mean? Well, look, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this Clunkers Quick Fix. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your neighbors, ring that bell so you don't ever miss an episode, and we will see you very soon.